It was in a small, forgotten town in the northern Philippines where the legend began, one of those sleepy, sun-drenched places that seemed suspended in time. The kind of town where whispers traveled faster than light, and every old woman at the market knew your name, and your sins. At the edge of town, hidden behind layers of jungle overgrowth and crumbling stone walls, sat the San Sebastian Cemetery, a place many locals refused to enter after dark. It was old, older than most remembered, and held generations of the town's dead. The gate was rusted shut, vines snaked over cracked tombstones, and the only sound at night was the low rustle of wind, or so they claimed. There was a story passed down from grandmother to grandchild, murmured over candlelit dinners and stormy nights, the story of the cemetery twins. They were said to have died over 50 years ago, young, innocent, and tragically taken by an unknown illness. Their graves stood side by side, marked only by moss-covered crosses with names too worn to read. But the townspeople remembered their faces, porcelain pale, eyes always wide, and their clothes always matching. Some said they appeared on certain nights, standing beside their graves, their small voices calling softly, "Come play with us." Others claimed to have heard laughter echoing through the trees, childish and high-pitched, yet deeply wrong, like something pretending to be human. No one who accepted their invitation was ever seen again. Most people dismissed it as a ghost story to scare children. But there were missing persons reports. Real ones. Travelers. Vloggers. Curious outsiders who wandered too close and never came back. Still, the story remained tucked away, hidden in dusty corners of local lore. Until one day, a skeptic arrived in town. His name was Ethan Reyes, a half-Filipino travel vlogger based in Los Angeles. In his late 20s, Ethan had built a modest following online by exploring offbeat destinations and debunking supernatural urban legends. He wasn't arrogant, just deeply logical. Raised in a household where science was law and superstition was dismissed, Ethan treated every haunted place as a puzzle to be solved. When a follower messaged him about San Sebastian Cemetery and the tale of the cemetery twins, Ethan's curiosity sparked. The story had all the right ingredients: folklore, mystery, missing people, and a forbidden location. It was perfect for his channel. The more he read about it online, the more intrigued he became. The legend wasn't just obscure, it was actively avoided. The few mentions he found came from locals warning others not to go near the place. To Ethan, that only made it more interesting. So he booked a flight. Upon arrival, the town was exactly how it had been described: quiet, slow-moving, almost untouched by time. There were no neon signs, no fast food chains, no loud traffic. Just dusty roads, old wooden houses, and the occasional rooster call. But beneath the town's sleepy surface, Ethan sensed tension. People avoided eye contact when he mentioned the cemetery. Some even walked away mid-conversation. The only person who gave him anything useful was an elderly man named Mang Isco, the town's informal historian. "You should not go there, Iho," the old man warned, squinting as he packed dried tobacco into a handmade pipe. "Many people have vanished. They hear voices. Little voices. And then, nothing." Ethan pressed him for details, but Mang Isco clammed up quickly, crossing himself and muttering a prayer under his breath. Undeterred, Ethan made his plan. He would wait until dusk, sneak into the cemetery with a flashlight, a thermal camera, and a chest-mounted GoPro. He wanted authenticity, raw footage. The real fear. If nothing happened, fine. But if something did, well, his viewers loved that kind of content. He didn't believe in ghosts. He believed in atmosphere. In psychology. In fear feeding on suggestion. But San Sebastian had a way of making even skeptics second-guess themselves. Dusk fell quickly over San Sebastian. The sun bled into the horizon, casting long, crooked shadows through the dense jungle that bordered the cemetery. Ethan, armed with his equipment, followed a narrow path half swallowed by roots and tall grass. The gate to the cemetery was exactly as described, rusted, chained, and leaning to one side as if it had been forgotten by time itself. He climbed over it easily. Inside, the air grew colder. Noticeably colder. Ethan clicked on his flashlight, the beam slicing through the gloom, revealing decaying tombstones, cracked statues of saints, and small stone mausoleums that looked like they could crumble under the weight of a whisper. The air was still, no wind, no insects, no sound at all except the quiet crunch of gravel beneath his boots. He narrated into his mic in a low voice, describing the layout of the cemetery, the gear he was using, and the local legend. His voice sounded strange in the silence, almost disrespectful. "Still no sign of the ghost twins," he whispered, pointing his camera toward a cluster of small graves in the far corner. "But if they're here, I'm ready." And then he heard it. A giggle. Faint. High-pitched. Childlike. Ethan froze. His flashlight trembled slightly as he swept it toward the source. Nothing. Just tombstones and shadows. Then, another giggle. Closer this time. He turned the GoPro toward his chest, adjusting the angle to capture the audio better. "Okay," he muttered, forcing a smirk. "Either I'm being pranked, or someone's playing with a speaker out here." That's when he saw them. Two figures, small and pale, standing beneath a gnarled tree about 20 feet away. Identical. Unmoving. Each wore a white dress that looked torn at the bottom, like it had been dragged through the dirt for years. Their faces were hidden beneath long, dark hair that hung limp and still. He raised his flashlight. And they vanished. Not ran. Not walked. Just gone. The light trembled in his hand. "Okay, that's new." He backed away slightly, heart thudding. Maybe it was a trick of the light. Maybe adrenaline. He turned to leave, and that's when he heard it again. "Come play with us." Right behind him. He spun around. No one there. The camera picked up nothing but darkness and static. His breath came faster now. For the first time, Ethan felt something he hadn't expected to feel here, the gnawing edge of fear. Real fear. Ethan didn't sleep that night. He returned to his rented guest house just before midnight, drenched in sweat despite the cool night air. He told himself over and over, it was a hallucination, a trick of the dark, your brain playing games. But the camera footage told a different story. When he reviewed the video, he expected jump cuts or corrupted files. But the twins, they were there. Just for a frame or two. Inhumanly still, faces hidden, standing exactly where he'd seen them. And that whisper, "Come play with us," it was crystal clear on the audio. No static. No distortion. He tried uploading the footage to his drive, but his laptop screen glitched, flashing symbols he didn't recognize, circles, lines, mirrored letters that made no sense. Then the file deleted itself. He hadn't touched a thing. The next morning, Ethan woke up to find dirt on the floor of his room. Muddy child-sized footprints led from the front door to the foot of his bed, and stopped there. He stared at them, heart pounding, then ran outside, expecting to see tracks leading away. But the ground outside was clean. No footprints. No sign of entry. The door had been locked all night. Later that day, he went to a local internet cafe to back up the footage, again. The PC refused to recognize his SD card. Then it froze. Then the power went out. The locals avoided his gaze. The woman at the front desk refused to serve him water. The word had gotten out. That night, as he tried to sleep, Ethan heard scratching at his door. Faint at first. Then louder. Then a knock. A soft, synchronized tap-tap, like two children knocking at the same time. He didn't open it. He buried his head under the sheets and waited. At 3:17 a.m., his phone screen lit up on its own. It buzzed once. A message appeared. "Let us in." No number. Just those 3 words. He deleted it, turned the phone off, and tried to convince himself it was a prank. Or a virus. Or a dream. But when he woke up, there were 2 dolls on his pillow. Old. Handmade. Wearing tiny white dresses. He hadn't brought any dolls. And in the quiet, for just a moment, he thought he heard something giggling from inside the closet. Ethan couldn't take it anymore. 3 nights. No sleep. Whispering voices. Moving objects. Childlike shadows at the corner of his vision. It was no longer content. It was a haunting. A warning. And he wasn't sure how much longer he could hold on. He decided to go back. It was irrational, insane even, but something inside him whispered that the only way to end this was to return to the source. The cemetery. The twins. He needed answers. He needed closure. Armed with a fresh battery, backup storage, and a small iron pendant gifted to him by Mangisco, he made his way back just before midnight. The jungle was louder this time. Crickets screamed. Leaves rustled even without wind. But inside the cemetery, there was silence again, dense and absolute, like sound itself had been swallowed. He stood in front of the twin graves, now freshly cleared. Someone, or something, had cleaned away the vines and dust. 2 tiny bouquets of dead flowers lay at the base of each cross. The names, once illegible, were now fully visible. Lucia and Lena. Age, 7. He began recording. "I don't know what you want," he said aloud, voice shaking, "but I'm here. Talk to me. Please. Just stop haunting me." No response. He crouched, placing the iron pendant between the graves, hoping it might offer some kind of protection, or peace. That's when the cold hit him. An instant drop in temperature. He turned. They were there. Lucia and Lena. No longer far away. No longer still. They stood less than 10 feet from him, pale faces fully visible for the first time, hollow black eyes, cracked lips stretched into eerie smiles. Their mouths moved in sync, but only one voice echoed. "You came to play." Ethan stumbled back, heart pounding, flashlight flickering. "I don't want to play. I want to go home." They tilted their heads, mirroring each other. Too late. Suddenly, the cemetery shifted. The ground trembled. Shadows poured from the trees like smoke. Ethan's flashlight burst in his hand. Static filled his ears. Behind him, dozens of tiny graves began to open, one by one. From each, a child's hand emerged. Then another. And another. Ethan screamed and ran, blind through the tombstones, crashing into branches, scraping his arms, until he reached the rusted gate. He scaled it, falling hard on the other side, breath ragged, heart screaming. And then, silence. No chasing footsteps. No voices. Just the night. Still and quiet. The cemetery behind him looked normal again. The graves undisturbed. The gate unmoving. Had it been real? Or had something let him go? He didn't wait to find out. Ethan left San Sebastian the very next morning. He didn't film a goodbye vlog. He didn't speak to anyone. He barely packed. Just boarded the earliest bus out of town, gripping his camera bag like it held his soul. His eyes were hollow, movements mechanical, like someone who had seen too much. When he finally arrived back in Manila, Ethan uploaded what little footage he still had. It was grainy, dark, and glitchy, but real. The whispers. The giggles. A few frames of the girls. Enough to go viral. The video exploded online. Comments flooded in. "This is next level horror. No way this is real, but I'm terrified. The twins are just a creepy story, right?" Did anyone else hear a voice saying their name at the end? That last one chilled him. Because when he replayed the video himself, right at the 14:44 mark, there was a whisper. One he hadn't recorded. Not on any device. A new voice, added somehow in the final export. Ethan. The whisper of a child. He deleted the video. Took down his channel. Disappeared from the internet entirely. But people kept reposting the footage. The story took on a life of its own. forums debated whether the twins were real or just an elaborate ARG. But the legend had already escaped, like a virus, and it spread far beyond San Sebastian. A month later, a popular reaction YouTuber posted their response to the original footage. They laughed at it, mocked Ethan, called it fake ghost girl clickbait. The next morning, their channel went dark. And 2 days after that, their fans noticed something strange in their last upload. At the 7-minute mark, behind them on the webcam, 2 small figures, dressed in white, smiling, still. And if you ever hear children laughing at night, when there are no children nearby, don't answer. They only ask once. Come play with us.